Me personally, I would get involved in the chamber, my local chamber of commerce, right? So what is the chamber of commerce? The chamber of commerce is a place where other entrepreneurs go that have small businesses. These are like real estate agents, mortgage lenders, financial advisors. These are other professionals. So I joined my local chamber of commerce and I will just start networking. I will start going to these events and I'll start connecting. I'll probably go to like one or two events a week and meet friends. I'll develop friendships with other professionals. And through that process, I know for a fact that I'll grow my business.
Welcome to MLM Nation, a podcast of leaders, by leaders, for leaders, hosted by Simon Chan. He's built a team of over 200,000 and is now a full-time MLM coach and trainer. So if you're ready to level up your business, join us now. Let's do this.
Hey, MLM Nation, this is Simon Chan, and I'm fired up to bring our special guest today. We have Ryan Bell. Hey, Ryan, are you ready to make it happen?
Simon, what's up, bro? I'm so blessed and fortunate to be here with you, man.
And MLM Nation, this is so embarrassing, but this is like a third take, and I've never done third takes for openings before. I think maybe it's because I definitely have a new podcast setup. This is the first time I have a little different setup in my office. But I recently was in Mallorca, Spain for Rob Sperry's Leaders of Leaders Mastermind. And Ryan Bell was there and then was chit-chatting. I still remember having him the first time on MLM Nation, episode 637, which is almost 4 years ago. Time flies. And when I saw how much you've grown since then, I was like, hey, Ryan, we got to get you back on the show. So Ryan, let's do this.
Let's do it, bro. Yeah, it was an incredible experience to be there with Rob and to officially meet you in person. Because we did the podcast a few years ago, but that was our first time meeting, which is pretty cool.
And I know this intro is totally different from our normal one, but if those who don't know, and when you say it's like the order's a little off today. But if you don't know, I can't even speak today. Gosh, but if you don't know Ryan, he worked as an EMT working the 911 system for 6 years before he got started. Today, he's a 10-year network marketing professional, a six-figure earner with over 150 active distributors and 4,000 really high-ticket customers. Ryan credits his success to his faith and his ability to implement quickly on what he's learned. He and his wife, Jeannise, are building a power couple-based brand and live out in Newport Beach, California. I definitely recommend you to listen to episode 637. So anyway, Ryan, let's take it for those who missed the previous episode, how did you go from being an EMT to working the network marketing business?
Well, so first of all, you guys, tune in, get rid of distractions because there are some nuggets that you guys will take away from this podcast that could shift the trajectory of your whole entire life. So I just want to start there. But so I was really influenced by my family, my friends, society. Hey, go to college, find a normal career, right? And I decided to pursue firefighting. My grandfather was a firefighter, so I was like, okay, cool, I could follow in his footsteps. And so that's what I did. So I went to college, got my associates in fire technology, went through a fire academy, and I actually got licensed as an EMT and worked the 911 system for 6 years. So I was in it working, 12-hour shifts, 60 hours a week. But what I realized after I was doing it for a couple years, a few years, is my heart wasn't in it. And I'm not sure for those listening, if you've ever pursued a career path where you realize like, oh man, like I pursued this, but I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. And so that was me. I couldn't see myself doing that for the next 20 years of my life. And I didn't know network marketing before this. And so I went through like a year or two where I felt stuck and trapped, and I went through depression. I was very unfilled, and I was not happy with my life at all. And then through luck, or the grace of God, probably both, someone introduced network marketing to me. And that's what shifted everything for me. Once that came into my life, I actually saw a bright future for myself.
So how did you do once you got started?
Yeah, actually. So the current company that I'm with right now, this is my third company. So the first company I started with, I was, very inspired, very passionate, very excited. And that company went out of business. And then we joined another company. And that company I was with for like a year. That company also went out of business. And so one of the first learning lessons I learned early in this profession is to find a company that has a track record and is going to last the test of time, right? And so the first two companies I was in, they were only under like 5 years old, and so they didn't have that foundation, right? So I developed a basic skill set, right? I was developing my mindset, I was nurturing my heart set, I was learning how to connect with people, but I didn't have that great of results in those first two companies. And then even when I joined my third company, I had quick results right out the door from my existing network. But it still took me about a year to really develop like a really good skill set before I had like a big breakthroughs for sure.
So if two companies go out of business, why did you even decide to? And you know what? This profession is supposed to give you residual income, the lifestyle, right? And
Yeah.
obviously, you're not having a lifestyle when two companies go under. What made you keep going back to network marketing or direct selling? Yeah.
Yep. I saw the vision from day one. And what I realized was the power between linear income and leveraged income. So linear income was what I was doing, was just trading time for income. I would work 60 hours a week. I would get paid, but I would have to go back and put in another 60 hours a week to earn the same income. And then when I learned about leveraged income, where you have a system that works for you, whether you're there or not, once you build it, I was like, I'm going to learn, I'm going to move heaven and earth to figure this out. And so I committed. I made a career decision in 2014 with that first company. I was like, no matter how hard this is or how long this takes, I'm going to figure this out. And so I was just committed to changing my life. And I found the right career for me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this until I succeed.
Now you said with your existing company, you did have some you did have some success, warm markets. How were you able to convince warm markets when your first two companies go under?
Yeah. Well, at the beginning, it was through my attitude, right? And so attitude, because I saw a vision. So attitude, I would say, is like the way you think. I would say it's the way you feel internally, and it's the actions. And so the friends that I knew, the family I knew, they saw that in me. They're like, oh, something's different about Ryan, right? And so I would say I had quick success in the first two companies, and even in when I started with the company I'm with today, is they just saw this attitude that I had about myself, where I knew where I was going, and I sensed that other people knew that I knew where I was going also. And so I feel like at the beginning, I just through the influence of me seeing a vision for myself, they could join in this vision with me.
How do you get that confidence though? Like, this is it. I can do this. Because like you haven't had, if you had success, then it's easy, right? But if you haven't had success, how do you have that vision and a conviction, a vision?
Yeah. So when I was 22, the first time someone introduced network marketing to me, and he introduced me to his friend that got him involved. And this guy was 3 years younger than me. He was 19 years old, and he shows up in a BMW wearing a tank top and flip flops. And I think at the time he was earning like over $5,000 a month or something like that. And he was living in Hawaii, but he was here in the States, just building his team. And by me meeting someone who had the results that I desired, that was all it took. I met someone who had the results I desired, and that gave me the belief that it was possible for me. I was thinking, if this kid who's younger than me, that doesn't really look successful, but is successful, I know I can do it. And that was what shifted internally for me.
And you mentioned you work on the mindset and the heart set. What do you mean by heart set?
Yeah. And so I just started using that term probably within the last year, because we hear about, developing a skill set, right? We hear about developing a mindset, the way we think. What I started realizing though, even if you have the right mindset and the right skill set, but you don't have the right heart posture towards yourself, towards your business, to human beings, your mindset and your skill set is not going to make a difference. And so I started really like leading my days working on getting my heart posture right. I was like, man, we're here to love on people. We're here to show people that there's a better way, that we're here to meet people where they're at, figure out where they want to go, and show them how to get to where they want to go. And so I've been teaching my team that is like, we have to lead with their heart. We're not in the product business. We're not in the network marketing business. We're in the people business, right? And what's the first thing when it comes to people is we want to love on people and just, treat them how we want to be treated. And so I started focusing on that, and that's made a huge difference in my business for sure.
What would you say is your major light bulb moment where things really took off?
So you've heard, and I'm sure those listening have heard the story about burning the ships, right?
Yeah.
Very quickly, there's an army that crosses the sea to go to war, and the general, when he gets there, he tells all of his captains to burn the ships. And then all the army's freaking out, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, why are you doing this?" And then the general tells his army and his captains, like, "We're either going to win or you're going to die," right? And they ended up winning the war, winning the battle. And so for me, once I realized that I didn't want to ever go back to a 9 to 5, I made a decision, right? And the Latin root word of decision is to cut off from. So I cut off from this old decision for me to pursue this career. And I pretty much didn't have a plan B. Network marketing, I made in my mindset and this was in 2014. So I would say my light bulb moment was when I got introduced to this, right? I made a decision that I'm going to pursue this no matter what. And so I didn't think about failure. Success to me was inevitable and failure was not an option. And so even though it took about 2 or 3 years for me to have like a breakthrough financially and a breakthrough in my team, I still was operating from a successful person from day one because I didn't cut off. I didn't have a plan B at all.
So let's talk about the last couple of years since I looked at the notes and interviewed you in January of 2021. It seems like only a year ago, but 4 years ago. In what areas have you grown? You think you've grown in what areas have you grown?
Well, I would definitely say because there's been some time of me like, consistently earning income inside my business, consistently building teams. I'm at a place where like I'm leading by example even more. So I would say definitely my leadership, right? So I've focused on my character and my lifestyle. And so as an example, I was able to change my zip code because of this business. I was like, amazing. I'm living in a dream city right now. And so me not just leading by example in like my skill set, my mindset, my character, but also like in my physical results from this business. I've been able to inspire and help other people. It's like, hey, if I can do it, you can definitely do it. Right. And so I would just say focusing more in the leadership aspect. Right. And then the character aspect, like I was talking about with the Heartset, that's something I started doing within the last year. I'm building. I'm not just seeing my team as business partners. I'm seeing them as like lifelong friends, right? And so I'm going out of my way just to connect with people, even if there's not an agenda attached to it for like, hey, how's your business going? And that has developed this culture within my team where even if people are not getting results, they still want to be plugged in because they feel like they're part of the family. And that's helped create like this like sustainability to our business within the last few years for sure. So leading by example and then developing the right character for sure.
When I talk about my simple online system, like step 1 is leading yourself, right? And that's what you're talking about. So how does someone lead themselves? If someone, going back to the question, was like, you don't have much results yet, how do you get that vision and confidence to go out there and build a business? When you're stuck, maybe you talk to 20 people, nothing is working. You're posting on social media, there's ghosts, there's nothing happening there. What should someone do right now if they're in that position?
If you're in the position where you want the results, but you're not getting the results no matter like what you do, you have to fall in love with personal development. So that's what I did. One of my very first mentors, he recommended GoPro by Eric Worre to me. He recommended that. And then he had me start listening to Les Brown on YouTube. And so I started listening to personal development and that opened the door to so much. I discovered, Jim Rohn and so many other thought leaders out there. And once I started thinking like successful people, then I started behaving like successful people. And eventually I started getting the results like successful people. Right. And so personal development, it's a necessity. Right. And I like to tell my team 50% action, 50% personal development. Because if you're 100% personal development and no action, you're not going to go anywhere. And also, if you're 100% action but no personal development, you might be taking lots of action, but it's the wrong thing. So you're still not going to go anywhere. Right. So it has to be one step in front of the other. And that's what I would recommend. Get with your mentor, who's ever currently mentoring you right now. Move at the speed of instruction. The most successful people in network marketing are the most coachable, the most humble. They literally, whatever their mentor is telling them, they're moving at the speed of instruction. Figure out what they recommend and then ask him. I would even ask your mentor, hey, what was the best book or the best mentor that help you have a breakthrough in your business?
If someone's watching this right now on YouTube or listening to this right now, they're probably into personal development, right?
Yep,
But
for sure.
like you said, they need to take action. And I think a lot of network marketers, they just go learn, but not enough action. But one of your strengths, and you said that's tribute to your success, is you implement quickly. So what is your thinking? We want to copy how you think or your routines. How do you make sure you implement quickly?
Well, it goes back to coachability. So from day one with my current mentor in my current business, and I've been doing this, next month will be 10 years in my current business, right? I'm still very coachable with my mentor. And so when he gives me assignments, I'm shifting my character so much. I was like, he has the results that I want. So I'm willing to stop doing what I think might be correct and start doing what he thinks might be correct for me. Right. And so like being coachable has helped me execute drastically inside of my business and helps me be very coachable. And it's, cause I'm one of my strength finder tests, input, learning, and intellectual are my top 3 strengths. So I'm able to consume information, I'm able to learn information, I'm able to teach it to someone else. And what I recently realized is because one of the things that was preventing me from having more breakthroughs was I would just keep learning and keep learning and keep learning, right? And I had to learn how to shut off learning sometimes and just go take massive action, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's like a switch that I have. If I have a switch where it's like, okay, I'm in learning mode, boom, now I'm in action mode. And I turn off my brain, hire my heart, and then I'm just going to go out into the marketplace and just execute and just love on people. And just, I think I've been doing this for so long that I'm at an unconscious competent level with a lot of this stuff where I'm just executing and chatting with people. And so, sometimes success, one of my mentors, he told me in the early days, it's like you keep learning year after year after year. And then all of a sudden you get it and you have this like epiphany. And, that's what might happen. You might be listening to this right now, trying to have your big breakthrough, but maybe your big breakthrough might be, 1 month from now where all of a sudden you hear something and it clicks, or maybe even might be on this call. You hear, or this podcast, you hear one idea and now you really get network marketing, right?
So what's one thing, because you asked me, and you can ask me back, right? Because we were at Mallorca, Spain, at Rob's Leaders Mastermind. What were some of the takeaway, or 1 or 2 takeaways you've had? And what have you implemented? I want to put you on the spot now. What have you implemented since then, or you haven't implemented?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. Mallorca was awesome with Rob Sperry. There was like 6 different countries in attendance. And so we're learning from these high level leaders. And the biggest thing that I got from my notes was the power of AI. So we know AI is taking over the world, right? Chat GPT, which I was mainly using as like a Google search type of thing. I didn't realize that we can actually customize Chat GPT to us. So it serves us kind of like a virtual assistant. So I upgraded to Chat GPT Plus. And so I have like 10 years of Evernotes. Evernote is my app that I use. So every seminar event, it's legit. Every seminar event, podcast, book, whatever I have, I'm writing notes that go back 10 years. What I started doing was uploading all of my notes to Chat GPT. And I'm telling Chat GPT, I was like, remember all of this content. Remember all of my notes. Remember my writing style. Remember my voice. Remember my communication style. And then in the past, I had a podcast, the Home-Based Business Podcast, which we're now rebranding. I have transcripts from that podcast. I started uploading all my transcripts to Chat GPT, and I was remember my voice. Remember this content from a few years ago. And then what I'm doing is I'm asking ChatGPT to write content based off of the content that I've uploaded from my Evernote. And so I'm focusing on LinkedIn right now, and I'm writing newsletters. I'm writing a daily newsletter from 10 years of Evernotes. And that's how I'm serving my audience on LinkedIn right now. And it's incredible because I could go onto ChatGPT and ask it to write an article for my Evernotes, and it only takes me like 10 or 15 minutes to create. And I have so much value that I could give my audience. And that was that was the big breakthrough for me, is just the power to leverage that for myself, right?
Yeah, that was definitely a big breakthrough for me, the AI. So how do you make sure you implement, going back to, like, do you have, and if you want, I can show you my routine, but I'm interested. You went to Mallorca, you had all these things. I saw you typing notes and stuff. How do you, because everyone has all these notes. So how do you make sure you actually get it done? Because you're busy too. How do you actually take action on that?
Yeah. So one of the things I've been doing for years with notes. So number one, we have to get in the habit of taking notes, right? So if you guys are listening to this, I would even, if you're not taking notes from this podcast, I would recommend you open up Evernote or some type of app and start jotting down notes that are like really like hitting you right now, right? So I got in the habit of writing down notes like 10 years ago. So as I'm writing down notes, I'm listening for big key takeaways. And if there's an idea that I hear that's an action step I can take, I copy and I paste it at the bottom of my notes. And I'll write like a little section. I was like, big takeaways. And so let's say, as an example, we're at the mastermind. We're there for, hours at a time learning. So I have my main notes, and then any idea that really hits me that I want to take action on, I paste on the bottom. And so by the end of the day, I probably have like 10 or 15 really great ideas. And then I review, those 10 or 15, and then I bold, underline, and italicize the one idea that I want to execute on. And I'll do that. I pretty much had like 2 ideas that I wanted to execute on from the mastermind. And then once I execute on those ideas, I circle back, plan, do review, take a look at everything, take a look at my 10 to 15, and see what's the next idea I want to execute on. So that's how I've been doing it. What about you, man?
What come again?
What about you? What's your strategy for that?
I think what I wanted to talk about, what you said. One thing is, like, you have to do that immediately. That's what I found helpful, right? If you, like, I do it normally on the plane ride back, because if you don't like go through those action things that you wrote down, then all of a sudden 1 week passes, 2 week passes, and you lose that motivation, inspiration. The heart is, like you said, the heartset is not there, right? So I do what you do, similar, but I just write down at the top action. I use Evernote, right? And I use the @ sign in action. And any type of notes I type in, if it's really good, or I think I have to think about, I copy and paste that line of the sentence and put it at the top of that note. Because I don't have the time to go through the whole notes. So when I go back, I just look at the top things. So I think from that mastermind, there's maybe 15 things that I was like, oh, I got to either teach it to my coaching members, like the stuff that Lance Conrad taught. I was like, I got to teach this to other people. And then what I do is I have a wall calendar here on the side where I take out the things out worthy that of like a lot of the AI. And I know that doing this for like 20 years, I used to think, I would do everything all at once. Chances, I'll be lucky if I do one thing or 2 in a week. So I go to my wall calendar, and every week I put one thing in there.
Nice. So
right?
good. I like that.
I knew about Plaud, right? Plaud is, Black Friday is coming up next week. Well, as we're recording this mid-November, I'm going to implement Plaud, right? Teaching my son how to use that. That's like one of that. So each, like Opus, that's another one I did last week, right? So each, those AI tools, instead of trying to do all the AI all at once, and then like you kind of don't really put all your time into it, I like one a week. I'm going to spend time to go and learn about it and master it. So that's basically what I do. I'm very similar to you. I just copy by the top, but I make sure I go through that list on the flight back. Otherwise, it doesn't get done.
Yeah, for sure. I think I had my big takeaways before I even hopped on the flight. I was like, we want to move fast so we remember the stuff, right? Yeah. As we're emotionally attached to it too. That's the big thing.
Emotions, right? But the biggest win for you in Mallorca was you got engaged.
I got engaged. Yes. Yeah.
That was awesome. Tell me what happened. It was like the day. I mean, I left a day early, but it was it was actually on the boat.
Yeah. So when Rob invited me to the mastermind in Spain, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to propose. And so I hit up Rob and I was like, hey man, like this is what I want to do. And so he helped me orchestrate it. And then so it was 2 days of the mastermind. And then the third day we went out on a boat in the Mediterranean Sea with people from the mastermind. And we were able to get it's funny because that day we had so many up and down emotions because we booked the boat ride. And then for whatever reason, they booked it for 2025. And so it took 2 hours to book another boat ride. and we ended up getting a sunset boat, so it was even better. And yeah, so it was just a beautiful proposal. It's, if you guys want to see photos, it's on my Instagram at Ryan Allen Bell. But it was an incredible. She was surprised. Yeah, it's such a memory for us.
So cool. And I remember that day was supposed to be rainy or cold too, right? And you guys just saying, so I think I remember some of the members, oh, should we really do this because the weather's not too good?
And we did have overcast. We
Yeah.
had overcast, but we were able to see the sunset perfectly, and it was an incredible day.
That is awesome. That's the network marketing dream. Better than being an ambulance, an EMT.
Yeah, 100%. I'm living the dream. Yeah, network
It's all worth
marketing.
it.
You guys can live the dream in network marketing. It's possible here.
Going back to what you talk about mindset again and copying how people think. So here's a chance for us viewers and listeners to copy how someone successful like Ryan Bell thinks. So this is my favorite question. What is your worst moment in network marketing to the point you wanted to quit, but you didn't quit, and that's why you are where you are today?
Yeah. So this is a good question. I have a team on the other side of the country, and we planned for me to be out there for a month to help them build their team. And I flew out there, and the second I got there, pretty much like all of our plans kind of went out the door. They were just like unforeseen circumstances that happened with the team out there. And so like I'm here on the other side of the country with my intention to spend a whole month out here helping this specific team grow. And day one, it went out the window. I was like, wow, I can't even pour all this time, energy, and money, or time and energy, and pretty much my resources into helping this team. And so emotionally, I was like, man, like this has to be a low point in my network marketing career, because I was just like, I'm just traveling, and there's like, what am I going to do? And so they say the most flexible person in any situation always wins. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I started thinking, I was like, oh, I actually have more teammates that are out here in this state. And so I started reaching out to other teammates that, maybe weren't as active, but I reached out to them, started connecting with them. And thank God we were able to still get to work for a whole entire month. I went out there with the intention to stay with a specific team, and I ended up connecting and building with another team for the whole month. And through God's grace, it ended up working out. And at the end of it, I was able to rank up too. But when I came back a month later, I ranked up in my business. And so it's so interesting, the polar opposites of events. It's like I get there and I'm going through this dark valley of emotions. And then a month later on this high peak, and I'm looking back at this dark valley a month ago. I was like, I'm so grateful that happened, because it got me here. Right.
Yeah. I think that's so cool. By the way, I love that. The most flexible person in every situation wins.
Yeah.
And I love the mindset. I think, I was just listening to some other show today it was a health show, and talked about someone had like a surgery that went wrong. Right. But he said it was the best thing that happened to him because of that surgery that led him to discover other things about health that has made him way healthier now. And it's like similar to your situation. For every negative, it's like if you are a person of faith, that's how God teaches us. Not when things are good, but when things are bad. Like for Ryan, this whole team that helped you rank advance, you probably wasn't even on your radar. But because of that negative thing that happened, then you were able to help more people, and you actually grew your business.
Yep. Yeah. It helped me get very creative. That's for sure. I was very creative for that whole entire month. And I was like, man, if I could operate from this creativity 24/7, like who knows where my business could be, right?
Hey, every successful leader is consistent. I know you're super consistent. How do you stay consistent? What routines and hacks do you have, or mental hacks or things that you do?
Yeah, you know what? I've been really passionate about studying productivity for as long as I can remember, and specifically figuring out what are good DMOs for myself, like daily methods of operation. And I started learning about weekly methods of operation, right? And then I started learning about like monthly methods of operation. And so for me, having specific DMOs, WMOs, MMOs that I have, that's helped me stay consistent. And then another thing that I add to it is plan, do, review. So let's say I have a good idea. I have a good idea for what I want to do for a daily DMO, like a DMO, right? I'm going to, give myself, maybe like 10 days. Let me do this DMO for 10 days. And then, I have this plan for 10 days. I'm going to do this plan for 10 days. And then I'm going to review it after the 10 days and see what happens, right? And depending how well it went or how well it didn't go, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to make some shifts. And then I'm going to create another plan, do, review. Right. And so I do that with my DMOs and so right now with my weekly method of operation, we committed, so we committed to plugging into a local event every single week. And it's been working really well. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stick with this. Right. And then for the monthly method of operation, we booked out the clubhouse where I live, which I've never done in the past. And we've been booking out one big event once a month. And we've had 2 successful events so far. And because they're successful, when I'm doing this plan to review, I was like, okay, cool. We just got some balloons. That's awesome. I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to book it again in another month because it's successful. And so I think the way to be consistent is plan, do, review, because what's going to happen when you plan to review, the things that work well, you're going to keep doing. And the things that don't work well, you're going to get rid of and keep testing and replacing things until you find things that work well. And eventually, once you get to, so let's say for me, I've been doing this for 10 years. You find like rhythms in your business that just work really well every day, every week, every month.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing the nuggets of wisdom. As we wrap up the show, some really quick questions to pick your brain. This could be one word. What is one of your favorite success quotes that motivates you, Ryan?
Risk going for the life you want or guarantee living with the life you don't want. I tell that to my team all day. And it's just, life is a risk, but doing nothing is also a risk. So you might as well risk going for the life you want.
What is one habit that's helped you become successful?
Hanging out with successful people. Yep.
What's the best piece of advice you ever received?
When my grandpa was 99 years old, I went to him, and this was probably like 7 years ago. And I asked my grandpa, I was like, Grandpa, what's the best advice you could give me? And he looked at me like I was like crazy. And he was like, what are you talking about? Only you can give your best advice. And I was like, dang, that's really good advice that he gave to me unintentionally. And so the best advice was like, we go through, our learning lessons, our experiences. And at the end of the day, we know like the right decisions we should be making. Right. And that's the advice he gave me. I was like, wow, that's wisdom right there. Like only a 99-year-old could tell me that. Right. Yeah.
What's your favorite prospecting tool? So say you have a qualified prospect. Do you get on Zoom with them? Do you do a product demo? Do you send them a video? Do you get on the phone with them? What do you like to do?
I really believe in human-based marketing, which is like person to person. And so I spend a lot of my networking in person. And so when I connect with someone who's interested in the product or the service, my go-to before I send them a video is like, hey, let's go hang out. Let's go grab coffee. And I want to spend time with them. And so I'm spending time with them without an agenda. Like I'm not there trying to like pitch them or trying to close them on a customer or try to recruit them. Like I want to first like get to know who they are. They get to know who I am. And so I would say the best prospecting tool is spending quality time with people and actually getting to know people and what their dreams are and them getting to know you as well.
What's your favorite app on your phone that's not a social media app?
Yeah, let me see. ChatGPT. That's not social media. Yeah. So ChatGPT has become my favorite. I have it as a shortcut. I use it for everything. I don't even use Google no more. So I use it as a search engine, and then I use it to help me develop ideas for thinking out loud, and then for my social media.
What are 2 or 3 books you could recommend?
Yeah. So most definitely, we got right here the Bible. We got I would say Proverbs. Get into Proverbs. That's a book of wisdom. And then this book right here is one of my favorite books I've read. Most definitely, Atomic Habits. This helps with consistency, which was what Simon and I were talking about. And then last but not least, right here, Power of Awareness, Neville Goddard. This one talks about operating from the end. So think about like the final version of yourself. You want to start behaving like that person today. And yeah, it's a mindset book for sure.
And here's the last question, the $1 million question. You ready?
Let's do it.
Imagine you had to start all over again and you knew no one. So didn't know your family, didn't know Jeannise. You had a contact list of 0, but you had all your current knowledge, skills, and wisdom. What's the first thing you do or the first place you go to build a network marketing business from scratch?
Me personally, I would get involved in my local chamber of commerce, right? So what is the Chamber of Commerce? The Chamber of Commerce is a place where other entrepreneurs go that have small businesses. These are like real estate agents, mortgage lenders, financial advisors. These are other professionals. So I joined my local Chamber of Commerce and I will just start networking. I will start going to these events and I'll start connecting. I'll probably go to like 1 or 2 events a week and meet friends. I'll develop friendships with other professionals. And through that process, I know for a fact that I'll grow my business.
As we wrap up, any last words or advice? And then what's the best way listeners can connect with you, Ryan?
Yeah, I would say best advice is when it comes to just in general, listen to people who have the results that you want and have been where you're at right now. That has changed my whole entire life. And then what was the second part? Where they could connect with me?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Instagram is my most active platform at Ryan Allen Bell. You guys could reach out to me, connect with me there, and you could get to all my other resources there on Instagram.
MLM Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today you may hang out with Ryan Bell. So keep up the momentum and go to MLMNation.com. Click on the podcast tab and the show notes for the nuggets of wisdom, the books that Ryan recommended, and also the link to his social media profile. Definitely follow him on Instagram. You can reach out to him as well. Hey, in order to be successful in life, in business, and in network marketing, you must help others. So Ryan, thanks again for sharing your valuable time with MLM Nation. We're grateful to you. And we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again, and God bless you.
Thank you, Simon. Let's go.
Hey, everyone. It's Simon Chan with a recap of a great show from Ryan Allen Bell. And definitely you can tell this today was a little nervous for me, like a different setup here, different part of the studio. I think I did 3 times to take. I think maybe I'll have my editor put in the bloopers in there. I never had a blooper reel, but that would definitely be one. But I love this episode, having people who are successful and bringing them back on, because it shows that success is a journey and people continue to grow, right? Success is never a destination. When I last interviewed Ryan, it was 3 years ago, he made it, but he continues to grow. And he gave great tips on how to get the confidence back when you're not successful, how to get that vision back, right? Have it maintain, maybe get, for some of you, it's getting it back. For some of you, it is to create one. And then you talked about, I think it's, I talk about the simplest online system. Number 1, you got to lead yourself. And then number 5 is staying connected. You got to be connected. Now, Ryan was motivated because he met this 19-year-old kid that made a lot of money in network marketing, going to events, right? The stuff that we're growing for MLM Nation. If you haven't missed the announcement, go to MLMNation.com/AI. Talk about using a system, network marketing AI system to help you recruit people better, create social media content better. That was all because I went to this event, right? Rob Sperry's Leaders to Leaders Mastermind event, where I'm connected with the CEO of an AI company, meeting with other leaders like Ryan. Ryan got implemented stuff that he's learned to create content better, right? You got to be connected. You can't afford to do this business by yourself. And number 2 is when things are not working out well, it is the one who's most flexible that becomes successful. And I love that. That's so good because you're flexible, right? And also, I think I'm going to get the book that he talked about, like live the life that you wanted to live. Most people just live the life and then boom, then they pass away, right? Think about where you want to be, having the end in mind. The person you need to be, start being that leader today. Start staying more consistent. Start being more focused, right? And maybe you don't have time or money to go to an event, but you still go anyway. Put on your credit card, go. I'll be very transparent. When the leaders mastermind in Mallorca and Spain, that was a really inconvenient time for me to go. But I went anyway. I traveled for 40 hours to be in Spain for 48 hours, but it was one of my most memorable events, like getting connected with Ryan again. And sometimes we're busy, right? Like Ryan lives only like 45 minutes from me in a really prestigious upscale Newport Beach. Never heard of Newport Beach, California. It's an amazing area, but we're busy. He's busy. And we actually went to Spain and reconnected. I met his fiance. It was awesome, right? You have to go. And one of my mentors always told me the best opportunities come when you have no time, no money, and it's extremely inconvenient. So if you want to build this business alone, just by learning about podcasts, it's not going to work. You got to be connected. And because a lot of the connection is from accountability. And Ryan talks about when you do personal development, you take down the notes and you make sure you implement quickly. And the speed of implementation is what determines your success. It's not how much you learn. Knowledge is not power. That's like you're being brainwashed, programmed by school. Knowledge is not power. It's applied knowledge and how quickly you can apply it that determines the money you make. And Ryan's an incredible student of personal development. I just interviewed him from back in 2021. And now, this is like December 2024 now, like almost 4 years. I've just seen him continue to learn, continue to invest in himself, continue to learn, continue to invest in himself, and continue all that leading out front, being that leader, setting that example, right? And you can ask yourself, would you follow yourself? And if you won't follow yourself, then you need to make some change to be that leader that people need to be, because the communities, the people out there need you. So that's what I have. Hey, make sure you go to MLMNation.com, follow Ryan, go to the show notes page. The link's out there. Definitely give him some social media love, follow, reach out to him, give some feedback. Also, I love your feedback. Make sure you just subscribe and leave a review for the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We put a lot of time and effort into these podcasts, so that would really, really appreciate it. And I read every one of those reviews, so I appreciate it. And thank you for those who have done so. So anyway, that's what I have. And remember, we're in the profession to help others. It's not just what you learn, but what you implement so that you can make a positive impact on someone's life. God bless. Have an amazing day.